Hello, everyone. Welcome to Descomplicando Inglês Jurídico. Let me just make sure that everything is fine here on YouTube. Please let me know if you hear me well. If you can tell me if you can hear me fine. Hello, Rafael, Anglizé, Angela. Good evening and welcome. Okay, so if no one tells me that something's wrong, then I'll assume it is okay. So let me introduce myself. My name is Bruna Marchi. I'm the founder of Descomplicando Inglês Jurídico, and I'm here today to teach you a class on legal English. So if you are a lawyer, a prosecutor, a judge, and you need to communicate better in English, you are in the right place. So let me start sharing my screen with you. And then I'll tell you all about tonight. So this is our open class for lawyers. So I'm the founder of Descomplicando Inglês Jurídico. At Descomplicando, we teach legal English for lawyers and translators. And we also have our team of translators. So we also translate legal documents to companies and law firms. Well, I'm Bruna Marchi, as I told you before. I'm a lawyer. I'm a legal English instructor. I am a simultaneous translator. I graduated at PUC São Paulo. I'm an American law system specialist. This is the second time I'm taking a course at Fordham from New York. I'm a legal English instructor at PUC São Paulo as well. I'm a comparative law instructor, and I also teach classes at Instituto EduSeri. So what about today's class? This is what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna teach you a 30-minute lesson. Then I'll allow 10 minutes for a Q&A session. So please, if you have questions for me, just type the questions in the chat. And as soon as I'm finished, I go back to the chat and then I answer your questions. And finally, if you are interested at the end of the class, I'll talk about our groups that are starting in February. And of course, there's a special discount for you guys. Let me double check here. Okay, everyone's saying everything's fine. Excellent. Thank you for your feedback. So let me go back here. Excellent. So let's get things started. Well, so the theme of our class today is torts. What does torts mean? Do you have any idea? I'm gonna use my phone to see our YouTube link here, so you can answer on the chat, please, okay? And I'll be able to see your answers here. So who knows what torts means? Any idea? You can type here in our chat. Dulce is saying hello, and etc. No one? No one is willing to try? No problem. Okay. So torts is a very important topic in the legal field in the US and in Brazil too. So the first thing, when I don't know what a word in legal English means, is I'll go to a monolingual dictionary, a legal dictionary, of course, and then I look up the meaning of the word. So if you do that, you can see, and I'm here referring to the Black's Law Dictionary. This is the most famous monolingual law dictionary in the market. And you can find the online version, just Google it. Anyway, very well. So this is what the dictionary says. And people are saying, Angela Neri, torts is ato ilícito, Mariana, ilícito civis. Excellent. So the meaning of tort is a civil wrong other than breach of contract for which a remedy may be obtained, usually in the form of damages. And here I know that it probably didn't help a lot because there are a lot of technical words here, right? So what I always tell students and people who talk to me about legal English is legal English is a language inside a language. So even if you're a lawyer, a judge, a prosecutor who is fluent in English, you may find this definition very difficult. And it's not only you, I mean, it is okay. So let's talk first about the meaning of these words. So first thing we did, just to remember, is we went to a monolingual dictionary. Oh, Bruna, I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, now you should open, that's what I do. You should open a bilingual legal dictionary, and I'll let you know all about it. I'll share the dictionary with you at the end of the class. And then we find the definitions. Now, please, does anyone know what civil wrong means? You can type here in the chat. Anyone for civil wrong? And every time we will look at it, at an expression, we should try to avoid to translate it literally, because civil wrong literally, um erro civil, it doesn't make any sense in Portuguese, right? Okay. No one wants to guess, no problem. So we go to the bilingual dictionary, and then we see that civil wrong is an acto ilícito civil, which is different from a crime, right? So we have crime, acto ilícito penal in general. There are some classifications. And then civil wrong is acto ilícito civil. What about breach of contract? This one is not that hard, but what I usually see out there, it's not 100% wrong, but it's not the way we say it. A lot of people translate breach of contract into quebra contratual. Quebra contratual is not in our civil code, in our legislation, so I prefer inadimplemento contratual. It sounds more, I don't know, more natural to our Brazilian use. Remedy. This is a problematic word because 99% of the time I see the word remedy in English being translated as remédio in Portuguese in legal contexts. Is it completely wrong? No, it's not, but there's a big, huge but there. Remedy should be translated into remédio in our legal system only when we're talking about our remédios constitucionais. Então, o nosso habeas corpus, o nosso habeas data, etc. So, if we're talking about constitutional law and habeas corpus, etc., okay, remedy can be translated into remédio. But in this case, remédio constitucional, right? But in general, remedy does not mean remédio constitucional. 99% of the time, again, remedy means medida judicial. What medida judicial are you talking about? I'm talking about any medida judicial. Uma decisão interlocutória, uma sentença, um despacho, desculpa, despacho não, porque não tem uma decisão, né? Mas qualquer decisão judicial is a remedy. Então, o juiz concedeu a indenização para a parte, this is a remedy. A sentença, this is a remedy. Any kind of medida judicial is a remedy. And finally, damages. This is a bit tricky as well. So we have the word damage, right? And damage in legal English means dano. Um dano que alguém causou a outra pessoa, ou causou uma empresa causou a um indivíduo. Damages then can be the plural of damage, right? So damage, dano, damages, danos. No problem at all. But take a look at this definition. A civil wrong, tort, is a civil wrong other than breach of contract for which a remedy may be obtained, usually in the form of danos. It doesn't make any sense, right? So usually, most of the time, when we see this word with this final s, damages, it means indenização. Now it makes sense, right? So here I'm not talking about a breach of contract. Why not? Because in a contract, the parts set for all the penalties and everything they want there. So we're talking about a relationship that is not regulated by a contract, and someone has or someone suffers a civil wrong. So this civil wrong can, for the civil wrong, I'm sorry, there is a remedy that can be obtained in court, of course, in the form of damages. Basicamente, então, se alguém comete um ato ilícito civil que não seja um inadimplemento contratual, essa pessoa ou essa empresa, obviamente, pode buscar uma medida judicial, e essa medida judicial geralmente vem na forma de indenização. So, tort, let's see what our bilingual dictionary says. Tort can be, yes, ato ilícito civil, extracontratual, e em alguns contextos pode ser vertido por responsabilidade civil. And this is my Bible, o Dicionário de Direito, Economia e Contabilidade, do Marcílio Moreira de Castro, que eu vou compartilhar com vocês. So take a look. Tort has two meanings, ato ilícito civil or responsabilidade civil. If we go back to our monolingual dictionary, what makes sense here? Is tort in this sentence ilícito civil ou responsabilidade civil? Responsabilidade civil, né? Então, every time we see this word tort, we can translate tort as responsabilidade civil, like in this case, or as ato ilícito civil extracontratual in other situations. So again, it all depends on the context. So, in order for you to memorize, civil wrong, ato ilícito civil, breach of contract, inadimplemento contratual, remedy, medida judicial, damages, indenização. And finally, tort, ato ilícito civil extracontratual, or responsabilidade civil, which is the case here in this sentence. Let me take a look here. Okay, everything is fine. I'll answer the questions as soon as I'm finished, okay? And now, when we lawyers study legal English, legal Spanish, legal French, whatever language, legal language we're studying, it is crucial that we study the culture of the country that we are focusing on. So here in Brazil, we are, as you know, a civil law country, right? So we base our law on legislation mostly. But when we study legal English, we need to remember that starting in England, the common law system spread throughout the countries that were colonized by England. So our rationale should change when we study legal English, and I'm going to show you that in 2 minutes. So while in Brazil, which is a civil law country, we rely mostly on statutes, and here is another tricky word. Statute não é estatuto. Aí tem, para falar estatuto social, tem um monte de possibilidades. Statutes, in this case, são aquelas leis advindas do legislativo. So, in our civil law tradition, here in Brazil specifically, in general, but I'm talking about Brazil now, we rely our legal system on statutes. So our legislative power, our federal legislative power, state legislative power, etc., they pass statutes like the civil code, the criminal code, and then we follow the rules, right? So, for example, I'm a lawyer and I need to draft a contract. What should I do? So, of course, I open the Constitution, but mostly I open our civil code. And basically the rules for contracts are in our civil code, and that's it. In common law countries, and here I'm talking especially about the United States, it's not that easy. I'm not saying that being a lawyer in Brazil is easy, but it's a little bit more complicated because in the US, for example, you just don't open the civil code and read the rules and apply the rules to the contract you're drafting, because there they rely on precedents. So court decisions, o que a gente chamaria aqui, né? Chama de jurisprudência. So remember that when you study legal English. In civil law countries, we rely on statutes. In common law countries, we rely on precedents. So in Brazil, you remember law school, of course, we studied the civil code, the civil procedure code, the text of the Constitution, etc. In the United States and in common law countries, we study precedents. So for example, this course that I'm taking at Fordham Law School from New York, of course, we have a little bit of theory, but in class, the professor discusses with the students precedents. What happened in this case? What's the rationale? Who were the parties? What's the procedural history, etc. And I'm going to show you that right now. So, the area of tort law, responsabilidade civil, covers a wide range of cases, and that's what we're going to study today, a real case. Match these case descriptions, 1, 2, and 3, with the case names A, B, and C. And here, I'll give you 1 or 2 minutes because it's quiz time. So basically, you will have these 3 cases and the names of the cases in the Google form that I'm going to, which link I'm going to paste here in the chat. So here in the chat, just click on this link on the Google form, please. I'll give you 2 minutes and then you take the quiz and let's see if you get most of them right or wrong. So basically, read the description of the case and then you choose the name of the case. So I'll give you 2 minutes, okay? Be back in 2 minutes. There are already 2 responses. So another minute. Three responses. 4. Very well. 5, and I'm gonna end it in 30 seconds. 6. That's the way I like it. Participation. Very well. Angela Neri, I have no idea. Dulce Castro, I guess I got everything right. Hi, Monica. Okay, so ending the quiz right now. Of course, I'll show you the answers and let's see if you guys got it right. So a civil case for wrongful, oh, let me just do it at 5. Okay, so 8 responses. Where are yours? 8 responses, okay. So a civil case for wrongful death, which followed an unsuccessful criminal prosecution for murder. The People v. O.J. Simpson, 100% correct, excellent, very good job. So, a wrongful death é tipo penal que não existe desse jeito no Brasil. A wrongful death é homicídio que gera obrigação do criminoso, né, de indenizar a família da vítima. So that's wrongful death. And yes, the People v. O.J. Simpson. By the way, on Netflix, there's a great series on O.J. Simpson. I don't remember the name of the series of the sitcom, of the show, not sitcom, the show. But anyway, if you go to Netflix and look for O.J. Simpson, you're gonna find it. Number 2, an urban legend about a woman who sued a company for damages because the instruction manual for the microwave oven gave no warning against the way she used it. So 87% Hubbard v. Spittycook, and 12% the People v. O.J. Simpson. So yes, this is an urban legend, I'm sorry. This case does not exist. It's a made-up case. And a 1994 case in which 2.7 million in damages were awarded. So now you know that damages means indenização, right? And 87.5% of you got it right. So Liebeck v. McDonald's restaurants. Liebeck, nobody knows how to pronounce this lady's name. Excellent. So this is O.J. Simpson, and this is Liebeck or Liebeck. But most people know this case by the coffee case, the McDonald's coffee case, or something like that. You guys must have heard about it. Very well. So if you haven't heard about it, I'll read you a description that is very popular. And when people that have not studied the case talk about it, most people at least, they describe this case exactly like this. I got it from Vox. It's on a website. So that's how they describe this case. A woman driving in her car while holding McDonald's coffee between her legs spills some of the coffee on herself. Inflicted with some minor burns, she sues McDonald's as if she shouldn't have known that coffee is hot and driving with it in your hand or leg is dangerous. And then she ultimately wins millions of dollars from the fast food chain, becoming rich due to a dumb mistake that was all on her. So basically, what people that have not studied this case say is, stupid woman, how come you get a cup of coffee and you don't know the coffee is hot and then you hold the coffee between your legs, and then you drive, and then you get burned. I mean, what kind of damage can a little bit of hot coffee cause, right? So, and then to finish here, right? And then you get millionaire, right? So you sue McDonald's and get millionaire. But there are a lot of buts here. Here is what really happened. So let me share my computer sound with you. So I'll play this video on YouTube. I'll allow for subtitles. Pay close attention. And then I want you to write your opinion here in the chat.
About the $1 million case against McDonald's in the early 19s due to a hot cup of coffee. But what did really happen? This is simplified story of Liebeck versus McDonald's, the $1 million lawsuit. On February 27, 1992, Stella Liebeck, a 79-year-old woman from Albuquerque, New Mexico, ordered a 49-cent cup of coffee from the drive-thru window of a local McDonald's restaurant. Liebeck was in the passenger seat, and the car did not have any cup holders. Liebeck placed the coffee cup between her knees and pulled the far side of the lid toward her to remove it to add some sugar. In the process, she spilled the entire cup of coffee on her lap. Liebeck was wearing cotton sweatpants. They absorbed the cotton and held it against her skin, scalding her thighs, buttocks, and groin. The coffee was not just hot, but dangerously hot. McDonald's corporate policy was to serve it at a temperature that could cause serious burns in seconds. Liebeck was taken to the hospital where it was determined that she had suffered third-degree burns on 6% of her skin and lesser burns over 16%. She remained in the hospital for 8 days while she underwent skin grafting. During this period, Liebeck lost 20 pounds, 9.1 kilograms, nearly 20% of her body weight, reducing her to 83 pounds, 38 kilograms. After the hospital stay, Liebeck needed care for 3 weeks, which was provided by her daughter. Liebeck suffered permanent disfigurement after the incident and was partially disabled for 2 years. Liebeck's case was far from an isolated event. McDonald's had received more than 700 previous reports of injury from its coffee, including reports of third-degree burns, and has paid settlements in some cases. Mrs. Liebeck offered to settle the case for $20,000 to cover her medical expenses and lost income, but McDonald's never offered more than $800. Liebeck did not accept the offer. When McDonald's refused to raise its offer, Liebeck retained Texas attorney Reed Morgan. Morgan filed suit in New Mexico District Court accusing McDonald's of gross negligence for selling coffee that was unreasonably dangerous and defectively manufactured. McDonald's refused Morgan's offer to settle for $90,000. Morgan offered to settle for $300,000, and a mediator suggested $225,000 just before trial, but McDonald's refused these final pretrial attempts to settle. The trial took place from August 8th through 17th, 1994. During the case, Liebeck's attorneys discovered that McDonald's required franchisees to hold coffee at 180 to 190 degrees Fahrenheit, 82 to 88 degrees Celsius. Liebeck's attorney argued that coffee should never be served hotter than 140 degrees Fahrenheit, 60 degrees Celsius, and that a number of other establishments served coffee at a substantially lower temperature than McDonald's. They presented evidence that coffee they had tested all over the city was all served at a temperature of at least 20 degrees Fahrenheit, 11 degrees Celsius lower than what McDonald's served. Liebeck's lawyers also presented the jury with expert testimony that 190 degree Fahrenheit, 88 degrees Celsius coffee may produce third-degree burns where skin grafting is necessary in about 3 seconds, and 180 degrees Fahrenheit, 82 degrees Celsius coffee may produce such burns in about 12 to 15 seconds. Lowering the temperatures to 160 degrees Fahrenheit, 71 degrees Celsius would increase the time for the coffee to produce such a burn to 20 seconds. Liebeck's attorneys argued that these extra seconds could provide adequate time to remove the coffee from exposed skin, thereby preventing many burns. A 12-person jury reached its verdict on August 18, 1994. Applying the principles of comparative negligence, the jury found that McDonald's was 80% responsible for the incident and Liebeck was 20% at fault. They awarded Liebeck $200,000 in compensatory damages, which was then reduced by 20% to $160,000. In addition, they awarded her $2.7 million in punitive damages. Not a small amount of money, in other words. Liebeck died on August 5, 2004, at age 91. And sadly, according to her daughter, the burns and court proceedings had taken their toll, and in the years following the settlement, Liebeck had no quality of life, and that the settlement had paid for a live-in nurse.
Very sad, isn't it? Let me go back to the presentation. So, very sad case. So coming back here, spill some coffee. Okay, minor burns. They were not minor burns. They were third-degree burns. Oh, and there's some vocabulary there that is not legal, but it's interesting. Grafting, right? Do you know what it means? It is enxerto de pele. Então, ela teve que fazer enxerto de pele. Not minor burns. She wins millions of dollars becoming rich due to a dumb mistake. So it's nothing like that. She was an old lady. She suffered a lot. She stayed in hospital. And the most interesting part for me is she tried to settle, right? She hired lawyers and they went to McDonald's and said, look, I spent $20,000. So can you give me $20,000 and then you're fine? And McDonald's said, no, 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 many times. And there you go. By the way, there was a settlement at the end of the case and nobody knows how much she made because it was secret. Nobody knows that, but okay, good money, I would suppose. But I mean, like her relative said, right? She suffered until she died. So this is how I wanted to bring you this famous case because I wanted to show you how we study law in the United States. So the professor would explain something about torts and liability and everything, and then the professor would bring cases, real cases, so we students could study. One last thing is something very interesting about, for example, American constitutional law is the Constitution of the United States is more than 200 years old. So, and it's very, very short. It has 7 articles and only 27 amendments. So every time we study American constitutional law, I mean, reading the Constitution doesn't help much, right? Because it's really old and because it's really short. So we need to rely on precedents in constitutional law. And for example, contracts in the US, they are mostly based on precedents. So being able to study precedents is really important in order for us lawyers to understand a common law legal system and a common law jurisdiction. Excellent. So as promised, I will send you tomorrow with my thank you email the link to this dictionary, this bilingual dictionary, the only one, Descomplicando Inglês Jurídico, and I recommend. This is a PDF, this will be, right, a PDF file. It's not bootleg, it's not pirata. The author, Marcílio Moreira de Castro, is not having his dictionary printed anymore. So he just said, okay, let's give the free PDF to people. So I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I'm gonna send you a link where you can download the dictionary. Very, very, very reliable. And now, as I promised also, let me go back here to the chat and answer any questions you might have. Mariana Loio, remedy nesse caso não seria reparação? Neste caso, let me see. Let me read that again. Reach a remedy. Pode ser também. Então, o macro é uma medida, a tradução macro, né? A medida judicial, mas se essa medida judicial está te beneficiando, pode ser uma reparação. Nesta frase, I agree, it can be translated as reparação. Mariana. What else? Oh yeah, Netflix. Caroline, thank you. American Crime Story. Exactly. American Crime Story, The People v. O.J. Simpson. It is amazing. And Mariana also said, I love this case, right? The McDonald's case. No more questions here. Anyway, if you do have questions, feel free to send me an email to answer my email. No problem at all. I'll be happy to answer you. And now, if you are interested in our legal English classes for lawyers, that's the time when you can ask questions too. So we're starting groups in February. For you who have enrolled in this class, I'll give a 30% discount in February's installment. The classes are live on Zoom. You in groups, if you take the lessons in a group, the classes are, you go to class 1 hour per week. All the classes are recorded. You can also take, oh my goodness, I just forgot the other kind of classes we have. Anyway, only you in the class, right? You can take private lessons. You can take private lessons also, and then you can have more than 1 hour a week. If you have classes in a group, we have groups of up to 3 students, only up to 3 lawyers. I see our competitors having groups with up to 20 lawyers, which is crazy. So in our groups, you guys will have the chance to communicate and to speak in English. All tutors have a degree in law and translation. So all of our teachers have a degree in law. Many of them have practiced law as attorneys for quite some time. And finally, how much it costs, right? So it's 390 reais per month per student if you choose to study in a group. What do you study? If you study in a group, you will study a Cambridge Legal English book. If you have private classes, you will ask your teacher whatever you want. So for example, we have here students who study only recovery, que é a recuperação judicial de empresas. So our teachers tailor these special classes for you if you are a private student. So if you want to enroll, just answer my email. I'll send this email tomorrow, and then you'll get the 30% discount. So all classes are recorded, because then if you're part of a group and you cannot attend one of the classes, for example, you get the recording and then you never miss the content. Go to our website. We have a tab with free legal English materials. Feel free, you're more than welcome to download them. We are on social media, so Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and we have, I guess, 60 videos on YouTube, short videos, long videos, all about legal English. If you want to talk to me, feel free to shoot me an email, bruna.marque@descomplicandoij.com, And here is my phone number also. Let me see if you have any questions here. Regina, are there courses for translators who are not lawyers? Yes, of course. Tomorrow, Regina, I'll be teaching an open class specially tailored for translators. So come back tomorrow at 6. And then at the end of the class, I'll give you all the instructions for legal English classes for translators who do not have a degree in law. Monica Pinheiro. Monica is a judge, desembargadora. So Monica Pinheiro says, I have an excellent teacher. I love my classes at Descomplicando. Thank you, Monica. She is our dear student. And Monica, yes, I'll send everyone an email tomorrow with this recording, okay, on YouTube, so you can show whoever you want. And if you want to study with us, you are more than welcome. Anglizei Oliveira, she's also our student. Thank you, Anglizei. Regina, thank you very much. No problem, Regina. Oh, Angela Pedral, your email again. I'm sorry. Here is my email again. So bruna.marchi@descomplicandoij.com. But if you go to our website, Regina, you can send me a message there too. Lohane Soares de Oliveira, very good. Thank you so much. Thank you. Dandinha Mendonça, thank you. Monica, thank you. Thank you all. Then I'll send you this, the link to this video tomorrow, a certificate of attendance also, and feel free to contact me anytime.